Court reacts to alleged resignation of Presidential Tribunal Judge Ugo. IPOB tells Tinubu to ignore northern groups. Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention will sink Nigeria. Court orders DSS to allow Kanu access to medical records and doctors. Also, the presidential candidate of the APC in person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's campaign has gone viral on the crashing of fuel price amid hike. Details now. A news report surfaced claiming that Honorable Justice Bokoromo Moses Ugo has resigned as member of the Presidential Election Petition Court panel. The alleged resignation comes amid alleged demands from the executive branch that he believes would undermine Nigeria's democracy. According to the report published from an online forum, Nairoland, Justice Ugo tendered his resignation via a statement. In the statement, he allegedly expressed concerns that siding with the government on certain matters would be detrimental to the country's democratic principles. He allegedly cited his unwillingness to compromise the independence of the judiciary by ruling in favor of a particular political candidate widely speculated to be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Furthermore, the report claims that Justice Ugo has asked to suppress evidence and dismiss cases that could potentially impact the outcome of the 2023 presidential election, which is currently being challenged in court by Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. However, as of now, Justice Ugo has neither confirmed nor denied the reported resignation. Also, in reaction to that, the Court of Appeal today debunked the news that a member of the 5-member panel that is handling petitions seeking to nullify the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu resigned. A high-ranking official of the court who spoke recently to the press described the information as fake news, insisting that it was the handwork of evil rumor mongers. The source, who pleaded not to be mentioned because he was not authorized to speak to the press, maintained that no such thing happened. According to the report, Justice Ugo, in a statement, maintained that siding with the government on the matter before the court would be the death of Nigeria's democracy, insisting that he could not, in good conscience, remain silent. The report also stated that by doing so, it disclosed that he was asked to cripple the independence of the judiciary by ruling in favor of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, I have the telephone Barrister Eze Eluchi. He is a political commentator, a social affairs commentator as well, of course, as the name implies, a legal practitioner. Barrister Eze, good afternoon and welcome to the World News right here on VOP 90.3 FM. Barrister Eze, can you hear me?
I am hearing you very well. Thank you for having me in your studio.
All right, you're welcome. So, Barrister, there is a saying that there is no smoke without fire. And this particular information, when it broke out, in as much as the Court of Appeal has debunked such claims, it was too apt. It was too descriptive. I mean, the e-statement and what was purportedly said that, he said via the statement that was released was, it wasn't something that was, it didn't seem like a sleight of hand. In as much as the Court of Appeal has debunked it, do you think that there is an element of truth in this particular development? Because the ending of the Election Petition Tribunal is very close, and some persons think that aggressive measures are being made by possibly all the political parties who have their cases there, trying to possibly use what they call a media trial to either influence the decision of the judges at the Election Petition Tribunal. What's your take on that development?
Well, this is one of those instances where we all fervently hope that this smoke has no fire on it.
Okay.
Because the implications of this act, if it had been true, if it had not been debunked by the Court of Appeal, would have had very serious and dire consequences for Nigeria and that experimentation with democracy. It is right that the letters were so detailed that one imagines whoever might have sat back and who formed that document must be very mischievous. Because you cannot imagine a judge, after having heard all the entire processes, and the nation is just awaiting the judgment at this stage for such a thing to happen. It is most unfortunate. But what should make us worried more is the way that rumor or that allegation spread like wildfire, and Nigerians believed it. Personally, when I heard it, I said I must await for confirmation from the Court of Appeal, because that would have meant the crash, the end of justice and judiciary in Nigeria. And by extension, even the Nigerian democracy itself. So it's very unfortunate. But I think they believe it. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Yes, the rumor gained currency because of the fact of antecedents, what had happened in previous occasions.
Okay.
Involving Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you recollect, when there was one Justice Ayo Salami, who was the president of the Court of Appeal, it was realized that while petitions were going on for gubernatorial petitions were going on in some 3-4 states, mostly in the Southwest, there had been alleged correspondence and communication between Bola Tinubu and Justice Ayo Salami, which was said to have ensured that his party then gained control of some states in the Southwest. So perhaps that is why these current rumors gained such currency, and people were ready to believe it, because it's actually a sacrilege if such a thing should have happened. And I think it's good that the Court of Appeal came out point blank and debunked it, and they have to assure Nigerians that no such thing can ever happen. Because if it does, I mean, the consequence will be terrible for the system, for our country, for our contraption.
Yes, so that is basically what the situation is. It was scary when that information came out, and you do know that there was also a recent information that circulated as well, that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ariwola, had a telephone conversation with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whereby there seemed to be a conversation on influencing the outcome of the decision of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that will tilt towards the favor of the current administration in person, headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it took Justice Ariwola coming out to write that it was important for Nigerians to understand the sacredness of the judiciary. And like you rightly stated, it is possible that Nigerians are already expecting foul play to play out because of other incidences that occurred in the past, where the judiciary was supposed to try to be like a balance, an objective balance to even the scale. Now, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal very soon will hear what their final address will be. We have a person of Bode George making a statement that if the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is not objective in their final response based on all the evidence presented, he literally stated that there will be, chaos in the country. Why do you think there's a lot of fear as to what the outcome of the Presidential Election Tribunal would be? This is not the first time we've been having elections in the country and cases are being taken to the Presidential Election Tribunal. What exactly is it about this particular one that has a lot of interest involved and a lot of we're hearing several information out there. A lot is ongoing. So do you think that this is a move to actually check the hands or the decision-making process of the judiciary, especially at the Election Petition Tribunal?
Well, while this election is a bit different and the tribunals are going to be viewed with more seriousness, is what transpired during the elections itself.
All right.
This was the first election in Nigeria where people came out in their millions. Mm-hmm. The international community and domestic observers came out with a very daunting report condemning INEC for the shoddy way it managed the election.
Okay.
And to follow suit, the judiciary has not actually helped matters. Because if you recollect, not too long ago, there was news that the current Chief Justice of the country had traveled to the United Kingdom to meet with this same
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes. So, I mean, that gives the credence that something is amiss. So, if you now add that to the address by the President and his APC in response to the petitions at the tribunal, where the President and his political party threatened mayhem that there will be the governor, almost the country will be ungovernable if the court rules against him. Such direct threat against the judiciary is actually what is directly also giving right to believe that something will go amiss. So because of the president, Bola Tinubu has himself and his party to blame.
Okay.
Never in the history of Nigeria has any president whose case was before a tribunal threatening that the tribunal rules against him, the country will be ungovernable.
Yes.
That was a treasonable comment and unfortunate. So all you are now seeing is responses to such rascality. To also let Mr. President and his team know that Nigerians will be ready if anything goes amiss.
Okay.
I would say it's just like a counterforce, counterbalance of terror, counterbalance of rumors.
All right.
Nobody has a monopoly of the ability to create that smoke without fire or fire without smoke.
All right.
So I hope all parties will take it easy and then let the judiciary rule, and we believe that they will be objective in their decision-making process.
Okay, just like what you rightly disclosed at the moment, the reason why it seems like there is all eyes on the judiciary. I mean, one would say that Nigeria has never seen such participation, all right, on the Presidential Election Tribunal before. This is not the first time that we're having elections being taken to the court, and everyone is, this time around there's a massive follow-up on what is going on. Now, apparently, because Nigerians are not relenting on their quest to make sure the right thing is done, following the petitions against the announcement of Bola Tinubu as the winner of the February 29th presidential election, like I said, they are actively following the judiciary process as billboards are boldly written, all eyes on the judiciary. In fact, one of that was seen in Benin City, all eyes on the judiciary, with the judicial template, the scale of balance being like a signature there. And it tells you that with the current hike in petrol and the current situation that the country is actually going through, it feels like everyone is just waiting for the outcome of the Presidential Election Tribunal before there is any form of reaction. And I want to ask you, why is there a massive follow-up? I have never experienced such a follow-up on, on post-election processes at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Why is this different? And secondly, we can see that everyone is ensuring that the judiciary is held accountable. And so most of these stories coming up, what would you say to it? Because it's the Court of Appeal debunked it. But, I mean, it was too detailed to seem like it's false, or it was too detailed to seem like somebody sat down somewhere to be mischievous.
Well, it's good that Nigerians are beginning to take keen interest in the governance of their affairs.
Okay.
So the heightened interest in these affairs in the current dispensation is reflected, or it's a reflection of the massive outpouring of Nigerians to vote during the election, the 2023 election. Let nobody think that the elections are over. The people are still waiting by the sidelines to act if something goes amiss. So I will continue to urge those who have been put into office, who are elected, and the judiciary, that Nigerians are watching. It's not just one billboard. In the hearts of Nigerians, when you take a walk on the street, people have observed the hardship and the sufferings they are going through, and they are directly linking it up with the fact that their choices was not reflected in the declarations by INEC. Okay. So we hope that the system should maintain that a balance, a semblance of peace.
Okay.
For instance, Nigerians will now be wondering, let none of these tribunal judges fall ill. Even if they fall ill by natural causes or even die by natural causes. Any such occurrence will not be tolerated by Nigerians. Okay. So it is in the interest of the system to ensure that everything goes well, smoothly, and people do not have room or reason to create such vicious rumors that a judge resigned or a judge died or that there is a meeting between a governor and the Supreme Court judges somewhere else. We have to be very careful. Nigeria the Ides of March has come but has not passed.
Okay.
The elections have taken place, but the consequences have not been exhausted.
Yes.
So we hope that the judiciary is given enough reason and time to come out with a judgment that will be free and fair. We should realize that justice is not only to do justice, you must also be seen to be done.
Okay.
Let the judges come out and be open and transparent and give us reasons why they arrive at whatever decision. And I'm sure Nigerians will be relaxed thereafter.
All right. Like you said, let's hope that things are done the right way. You know that the Labour Party and the PDP has not actually given a response to the final address of the All Progressives Congress, which was, disclosed on Friday. Everyone is trying to wait and hear what their own final address would be concerning what the elections were and what transpired during the elections, based on the evidences they tendered and based on the witnesses they presented at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. But Barrister Eluche, I want to ask you something. Do you see the judiciary doing the right thing this time? Do you see the judiciary balancing the scale based on facts? Because there's a saying that there is a court of justice and then there's a court of opinion. The court of opinion doesn't matter because it is based on speculation. It is based on whatever media trial that is at play. But the court of justice has to do with facts presented at the court. They don't do sentiments. They don't do ideologies. They don't do what people are saying or what they said. It's about the facts obtained and how you're able to defend the facts that you presented. That is based on the lawyers are representing this presidential candidate. So come to think of it, with this huge follow-up, do you think that the judiciary, that is the justices, the panel of judges sitting right now, should be scared? Because everyone is hoping, everyone is waiting. Do you think they will do the needful? They will satisfy Nigerians in terms of they just want to justify how the elections went, and if truly the elections went the way it was meant to be?
Thank you very much. Let me just point out something.
Okay.
Many people are talking about the petitions by the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party.
Okay.
Or most people tend to forget that there is a more serious petition,
okay,
which was filed by the Allied People's Movement,
okay,
which is the third and perhaps the most potent petition ever, because that petition focuses strictly on the qualification of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima to even be candidates for the election.
Okay.
It didn't go into the details of who won or who should be declared winner, whatever. It just says these two men are not supposed to be candidates. And they have a very serious petition. And if that petition should be upheld by the tribunal, which it can still do, even the PDP and the Labour Party petitions become subsidiary. I just wanted to point this out because let Nigerians not be taken aback. The judgment for this particular APM, that is the Allied People's Petitions Movement,
yes,
may even come first. And it's a more serious and more practical and realistic petition. Now, with regards to if the judges have to be worried or scared or whatever, judges have been trained and they have been schooled and they have practiced judicial adjudication for several years before they are brought to this tribunal. So once the laws meet with the facts, they will know how to determine cases.
Okay.
Public opinion should ordinarily not sway them one way or the other.
Okay.
But in this case, there's people to realize that even the judges know that judicial decisions or judgments are not magic.
All right.
They are basically applying law to facts.
All right.
Like in this instance, the law about 25% in Abuja.
Okay.
That is the law. What does the fact say? Does the APC, did they have that amount? If no, there is no magic that can be done.
But in the address, the final address of the APC, they made it seem like it was, redundant. It wasn't a necessity, for the 25% to be gotten the FCT. They made it seem like it was not in the law, or possibly it was not substantial. It's not a substantiated claim.
Okay, I agree. If you are a lawyer, you will be paid millions or hundreds of millions to defend. Would you just say we don't have a defense to put up? What the APC council did was to write something and submit.
Okay.
But the law is the law and the fact is the fact. So that is it. They have to submit something.
Okay. All right. Now, Barrister SS, so apparently the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Department of State Services to allow the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, access to doctors of his choice and medical records. Justice Binta Nyako issued the order today in a judgment on a suit filed for Kanu by his team of lawyers led by Mike Ozekome. Now, Justice Nyako held that Kanu was constitutionally entitled to be allowed access to both medical doctors of his choice and his medical records despite being held in custody. The judge, however, ordered that any independent medical assessment or examination to be carried out on Kanu by his personal medical experts should be supervised by the DSS, with the whole process recorded and sealed for security purpose. However, the idea now is that they've asked the DSS to allow Nnamdi Kanu access to medical records and to doctors. Please, do you think the DSS will allow such? Because this is almost the third time the DSS have been asked to let him either release him, but they always come up with something. They always present something else to the court. That's the recent development now.
Yes, I think our judges should be more productive of how practical in giving these orders.
Okay.
If the DSS is proving to be reluctant or intransigent in obeying court orders, what I had expected the courts to do in this instance is to personalize the orders on the Director General of the DSS.
All right.
Such that if that order is not complied with as soon as possible, then the Director General of the DSS should be arrested and locked up until they fulfill the court order.
Okay.
Because if we are running a government that is based on the rule of law, nobody whatsoever should be above the law.
Okay.
The court cannot be sitting down and giving orders and somebody calls himself a DSS or an agency under the law, and for your personal reason, you refuse to comply with the law. That kind of nonsense should not be tolerated.
Okay.
Now, the DSS makes us even more worried because about 2 days ago, on the official DSS handle, the DSS made comments that appeared to show the DSS
bias
as involved in issuing out laws and bigotry, ethnic bigotry. The DSS Twitter account had a statement that was equating a lawyer of Nnamdi Kanu as a charge and bail lawyer. Sorry, Emefiele, sorry.
Yes, Emefiele.
As a charge and bail lawyer who works for IPOB. As if every Igbo person is a member of IPOB. Or is pro-Biafra. That was disgraceful and unfortunate. Because if a group that is under the law like DSS begins to utter such statements in official communication, people have to be worried and ask ourselves, what kind of people are manning this organization? So on the issue of the court order, I would have preferred that the judge in this instance personalize it on the person of the Director General of the DSS. Okay. And if he refuses to comply, order for him to be incarcerated. And let us now know if Nigeria is run by the rule of law or by the rule of jungle.
Thank you, Barrister Egwuatu, for your time. I actually wanted to get, I've seen the excerpt of what the DSS wrote. I would like to actually read it out. They called him a charge and bail lawyer. This is from the Department of State Services. They said he is overzealous, uninformed IPOB ESN lawyer, Maxwell Okpara, that mobilizes other like-minded lawyers against DGSS. They say futile efforts. Well, Nigerians beware. This is in bad faith transferred aggression. They went ahead to say a Biafran Republic agitator and outlawed IPOB counsel defended the suspended CBN governor. Is IPOB defending one of theirs? What a contradiction. So the thing now is almost like they're soliciting for the people to, intervene by their comments, by either having to say, oh, we don't want this to happen, or detain this person the more. The question is, when did it become this bad? When did the DSS become an institution that is no longer private, an institution that is no longer covert in its operations?
I mean, under Muhammadu Buhari, many institutions were desecrated and destroyed and personalized. So this descent into abyss by the DSS in this communication is most unfortunate. And some will say even the director of public relations of DSS is an Igbo man. But we believe that the DSS tweet comment reflects the thinking, the mindset of that institution. And it makes that every Igbo man should be afraid or conscious of that body. And perhaps that is why so much killings are going on. How can a DSS that cannot even identify the camps of terrorists, where they camp in their hundreds, have the audacity to refer to a lawyer as a child and bail lawyer? Can a DSS agree that it is also a child and bail institution when it does not do what it should do? I mean, such gutter language is not what we expect of a government institution. If those who are manning the DSS do not appreciate what they are there for, then they should give way, let others who can do what they should do be there. The descent into abyss by that tweet is unfortunate. And the worst still, despite public outcry, for over 2 days now, the DSS are not bothered to issue a disclaimer.
Exactly.
Because of worry.
Like the Court of Appeal did today on what was said about Justice Ugo.
That is right. That they have not issued a disclaimer means that is part of their politics. That is part of their policy. That is part of their institutional mechanism. And that is very, very unfortunate. Because as an Igbo man, it makes me worried. What will they do next? Will they feel that when they come for anybody, will they say, okay, you are Igbo, you are Biafra, you are IPOP? Which is nonsensical.
All right. Barrister Eze Oluche, thank you so much for your time and, for bringing in insights on the world news at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We really appreciate your input.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, in order for us to wrap up the world news at 12 here again are the top stories. You hear that the appeal court reacts to alleged resignation of Presidential Tribunal Judge Ugo. And IPOP tells Tinubu to ignore northern groups. Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention will sink Nigeria. Also, the Court of Appeal have been asked by the DSS to allow Nnamdi Kanu access to medical records and doctors. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Mwachukwu. Up next is Matters with Ikami Jude.